Hi, I'm Kayla Gretsch.
And I'm Elizabeth Franzo, and we would like to welcome you to Keystone College Television.
On this episode, we will feature many great aspects of Keystone College.
Let's look at women's basketball here at Keystone College.
Okay, Al Berger, head coach, women's basketball here at Keystone. I've been coaching since 2008, 3 years at the high school level, and since then at the Division III college level. I love it. You know, it's obviously a lot better to come in and work in the gym on a day-to-day basis than to go into an office. At least that's how I look at it.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot of work. The work pile with coaching is really kind of bottomless because you can always find something to do, whether it's watching film or recruiting or you know, trying to improve my knowledge as a coach. So it's kind of like a bottomless pile of work, but I kind of like that part of it.
Mm-hmm.
I do. Here at Keystone, a lot of the programs have graduate assistants. I have a graduate assistant. Her name is Gianna. She played for me actually back in 2017, 2018 in one of my previous positions. And she does a great job for us. So she's a graduate assistant here. She gets her MBA for free and lives on campus for free and gets a free meal plan, and she just stuck with me all day. So pretty good gig for me at least. It kind of varies. Like, you know, before the season, we're not really able to do much with them hands-on until we get to October 15th. So they have about 6 weeks on campus where we can't really do much together. You know, we try to get them working out together, playing pickup together in the gym. You know, we do team study halls and try to build our team chemistry that way. And then once we start our practice on October 15th, it's really, you know, especially with this year's team, we have a really new group. At the start of the year, we had 10 new players. We're actually only have 8 new players at this point. But we get them in and try to teach them our system offensively and defensively and all the things that we want to do. And, you know, we get a lot of shots up because we want to shoot a lot of threes as a team. That takes obviously a lot of practice on that. So we try to get a lot of shots up and build up our systems early in the year. And then hopefully as the year goes, we get to just kind of play more and more in practice. So we had a couple practices this week where we just got up and down and played a lot. But every practice is different based on what we need, you know, preparing for our opponents coming up.
Okay.
We typically have at least one study hall a week. Before our season started, it was more like 2 or 3 potentially. Now it's like 1 or 2 a week. Just try to be really hands-on with academics where I see there are issues, and we get like, you know, the midterm grades and stuff like that. Reach out to professors where I see there's our players are having issues, and just try to be here for them as like a sounding board if they're having trouble with, you know, whether it's advising or a certain class or whatever it is. Just try to be a resource for them and point them in the right direction. You know, that's one of the really good things about being a member of a team is that you have, you know, other people going through the same thing as you, or who have already gone through the same thing as you, so they can kind of relate to each other in that way, which is really helpful, I think.
Yeah, definitely. The country.
It can be challenging. You know, we do have a roster that's recruited from all over the country, so it brings some challenges. You know, we have a group of very different people. I think the biggest thing for us is just trying to be intentional about spending time together and like the times we're together, like not being on our phones and, you know, really just trying to engage each other and get to know each other. You know, we do something that we actually have fallen a little behind on, but called Testimony Tuesday. Like on Tuesdays, we typically come in, the first thing we do is like somebody talks about themselves and gives us like a little background on who they are as a person and like where they come from, their siblings and families and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So we try to do that. We try to eat a lot of meals together. Like early in the fall, we'll have we have more recruits on campus, so we bring recruits in, and we end up doing team meals together at that point. You know, obviously when we travel on the road, we have a lot of meals together. You know, I like to plan early season tournaments. Like we just got back from a tournament last weekend at Oswego in upstate New York, where we traveled together, stayed overnight together, ate meals together. So. Everything we can do to just try to be really intentional about trying to build those bonds as much as we can.
Yeah.
I feel really good. We're off to a slow start, but we had some really tough competition early. We get into our conference play on Tuesday, so that part of it is really exciting for us, and to face more opponents who are like kind of on our level. Some of the opponents we played early on are from like a tougher conference, so. You know, I'm excited to see what we can do, and really with such a new group, we only have 3 returners, so the rest of them are new to the team and learning a new system offensively and defensively. We're really, basketball wise, we're right on track for where we should be. It's just about trying to keep everybody focused and on track and trusting our process more than anything else.
And now let's look at glass blowing here at Keystone.
My name is Brandon Smith. I'm actually from this town, Factoryville. and I'm a glass artist currently teaching and working at Keystone College. The glass shop here at Keystone slowly developed through the sculpture program, and it's my understanding that some of the seniors at the time were experimenting with different materials and looking for different things that they could cast objects with. So one of the students, Jeremy Unterman, built the first reheating chamber that they had here for glass, a small kiln, and they were able to melt some material and make a few forms out of it. And I think that was like the first spark that kind of lit the fire here, so to speak. No pun intended. We have quite a few students in different areas that are working on some pretty great things. I include other areas outside of glass as well, because a lot of our students kind of cross-pollinate in different materials, and they work in a bit of mixed media. There is a traditional set of hand tools that are constantly used by pretty much all glass makers, and they are specific to the process. But depending on what I'm doing, I find that almost anything can be a usable tool with the material. Specifically in working with sculptural work, I find that, if your goal is to make a mark or a certain texture on a material, really anything, as long as it doesn't melt or burn up, is fair game. So oftentimes I do still find myself utilizing all of the traditional tools that are set up for this type of material, but then bringing in weird random things, sticks from outside, metal wire brushes from the shop, different wire wheels and rocks sometimes. It depends on the texture and what we really need to do with the material. And then there's also an array of torches and different other heating implements that we'll use as well. I think that's pretty common. I would say teamwork is a very large part of working with glass. That is not to say that you can't make things alone, and you might not eventually find that easy, but I do find that gaining a lot of experience with other people is what will help you train yourself to work without those other people as well. But overall, glass blowing is kind of a team sport situation. It's very community driven, and we all have to rely on one another to be able to make what we want to make. I feel that glass artists are in a very unique opportunity to develop an astounding amount of skills without even realizing that you're developing those. For anybody that's working with a three-dimensional material will often, in this world, find themselves structured in a way where they have their hands in many pots. So for instance, if I use myself as an example, I might be making higher end sculpture for a gallery while simultaneously making handmade windows for a restaurant, or glassware for a bar, or designing lighting for another place. Then there's also smaller end products to sell in shops and little knickknacks and things. And so I think with glass, the material has so many possibilities that it allows people to cater that material and not have to sit and try to succeed in just one area, like being a gallery artist, for instance. It allows us to develop concepts of design and functionality, and it pushes you to essentially be an entrepreneur in some sense, where you're completely self-driven. And a lot of glass makers, to achieve what they want to make, also pick up great skills in carpentry, a lot of metalworking on the side. I'll do a lot of side jobs at times as well outside of the glass world. Oftentimes it involves fabrication or fixing something in somebody's house, things like that. And the running joke, when people ask me, how did you learn how to braze plumbing pipes or weld or lay drywall and do all these things, and the running joke for me is that I went to art school. I became a glass artist, and that's how I learned how to do a crazy amount of things that I never really thought I would be doing. And it all comes down to advanced problem solving with the material. That's really, I think, the essence of a glass blower is somebody that is just problem solving in the moment. We end up branching out pretty far to make sure that we could achieve what we want, and picking up new skills. So I think being a glass maker inherently will make somebody extremely independent when it comes to their abilities and the things that they can achieve. I think with any school, when it comes to any visual program, like funding is constantly an issue, but to counteract that, we've developed a lot of new different programs and kind of side programs that'll help bring more people in. We work with the public and a lot of high schools now as well to sort of spread out the information, not only about the arts, but all the sciences and different science and engineering aspects of this material that are utilized as well. We've developed a few programs that run through STEAM grants. is what we call them, which is the STEM program, science, technology, engineering, and math, but we add the A for art in there as well to really show, the variations of certain materials and what you can do. So it has been a little tricky, but I think we're doing all right. One of the programs that we started here was a make your own glass experience, which allows somebody to come in for maybe about 45 to 60 minutes, and we work with a small group of people to make certain glass objects. They tend to be seasonal related, so you could come in and make a glass pumpkin with us or make some ornaments, maybe make a flower on Mother's Day. And it's just enough of like a little taste tester that they can come into the shop. They don't really need to know anything when they get here, but they can take in the knowledge of the material and work with things and work with us a little bit. And it gives somebody just a basic idea of like what can be done and the excitement of making something. I find that once we started that program, a lot of those people come back. They've started bringing friends. The demand for that has grown quite a bit. So I think that's at least one of our current doorways that we utilize a lot that I think work. I see the glass studio going into a pretty great future. I have a plan right now to develop a new program. Whether or not the school wants to maintain just the glass studio here, or the main goal is to actually develop a new industrial art and design program that will incorporate our metal studio as well as our ceramic studio and tie everything together with 3D printing. So we're kind of taking a slightly more modern approach to our visual program, where we're not relying so much on the traditional fine art aspect of it, but we're moving into a more modern, digital-based hand-making program, again, to develop a lot of students that can essentially be self-sufficient entrepreneurs. Yeah, I see a pretty solid future for the glass program here. I don't think we're going anywhere.
And here's another great story.
Let's Learn Together is a Keystone club founded in the fall of 2022 by Keystone digital media student Jillian Brennan. The club is designed to help students learn new skills and help them find new hobbies.
So Let's Learn Together is a club at Keystone College. It was just founded this year, we started getting the idea together for it last semester. So it's just a fun little club where we learn something new every week. I think in the original club idea, it was we could either learn something that requires a skill or, learn something as a subject, but we haven't really done the subject part yet. So I decided to create Let's Learn Together because I think it's important that everybody has a hobby. It's really hard to get hobbies in college, and I thought maybe if I had a club where people could try a bunch of different hobbies and stuff, then you could find something cool and snappy to do with your time instead of doing nothing or doing the same hobbies you had your whole life. So I just want to grow it into a bigger club in Keystone, maybe branch out to other schools or local libraries and stuff. Probably not other schools because I don't really know how that works, but maybe branch out to local libraries and stuff. Just my goal is to get everybody interested in learning and get bigger. So far we've made balloon animals, which was a big hit with everybody. We made calligraphy. We practiced handwriting calligraphy stuff. We've done tarot readings, special effects makeup. And that's about it. We're only a couple weeks into the club, but there's more on the way. It's gonna be very exciting. So balloon animals, we got a pack of balloons from the Amazon, and we blew up the balloons. We just watched YouTube videos on how to do it. That was our first ever club meeting, and we spent 2 weeks doing that. So we blew them up and figured out how to twist them, and many people still practice that outside of the club, which was pretty good. That's basically the whole point of the club, is to get new hobbies. Special effects makeup was basically the same thing. We would just watch online tutorials and figure it out ourselves with lower priced materials from Spirit Halloween. I don't think I bought anything off Amazon for that. I think it was just Spirit Halloween. And tarot reading, we had a couple people who knew how to read tarot in the room. We had 3 decks from 3 different people. We kind of just did tarot readings for each other and, went through the books and the meanings. For calligraphy, we just watched YouTube videos again. It's a lot of getting materials to learn from online. And we do hope to bring in people that are more experts on stuff we want to learn, but we're just getting started right now, and what we have is online tutorials. I think my favorite was probably either tarot reading or balloon animals. Balloon animals were just really fun. They were a really good time. I still do balloon animals sometimes too. And tarot reading I thought was just a fun day. It was our little Halloween themed activity. Eventually I do hope to do some kind of candle making, some kind of baking, something like that. I do hope that we're able to do at least one meeting with learning about a topic, whereafter we'd have to figure out how to structure that meeting and everything so that it's a little bit interesting and engaging to the club members instead of just being like, you know, a class. But we do have some fun ideas, you know, on the back burner, especially once we get some more funding. Maybe learning to play a tabletop game with everybody, maybe doing a little session on Dungeons and Dragons, something like that, because that is something a lot of our club members were interested in. It's a very small club right now, so really it's kind of just friends throwing ideas around, bouncing ideas off of each other. I think we thought of some other like yarn craft, like knitting or crocheting or something like that. A lot of just like craft things were what people thought of. I do have several lists at the ready, like, oh, 1001 things you should learn before you die or something like that, just in case we do run out of ideas. So I think the example I provided when I was coming up with the club constitution was like maybe Greek mythology, you know, a little snippet of a language, something like that. It would be up to the people in the club what they were interested in. If somebody maybe wanted to throw together a slide PowerPoint or something to do an almost type of lecture thing, my thoughts were we would get a topic, maybe like watch a video on it or read an article on it, like go around the room and read an article, and then maybe do like a Kahoot on it or something. So for me personally, I think it would probably definitely have to be aerial arts. I personally do aerial arts on my own time, aerial silk specifically, which I really enjoy, and I really would like to bring that into the club because I think it's it's really something that people don't think to try or think that they'll never get to try, and I think it's a pretty good time. I think I do enjoy learning. That's pretty fun. I like gathering ideas about new things. I like getting little bits of information about something. I like being able to say that I can do these things, all these things, like just a little bit, you know? Kind of like a jack of all trades situation. I think it's really important for everybody to have a hobby, and sometimes you don't even really think about it. Like, you're just sitting at home, you know, you're just laying around, you know, you're relaxing. Sometimes you just want something to do with your time, and I think that's where hobbies can come in. But, you know, trying all those hobbies on your own can get really expensive and time-consuming, and there's stuff you wouldn't think of. Like, when you think of a hobby, you're probably like, oh, you could do, like, crocheting or, like, falconry or something, but you don't have the time and resources for falconry, and you might not want to do crocheting. You can come into Let's Learn Together and we'll help you find a brand new hobby.
Want to join? Contact Club President Jillian Brennan at jbrennan@keystone.edu for more information. Or check the KC Morning Notes for meeting times and locations. Find a new hobby that excites you and meet new people by joining Let's Learn Together today.
Keystone College Television is brought to you by Keystone College's Communication Arts and Digital Media programs.
Thank you for joining us for Keystone College Television.
Join us next time, and please subscribe so you don't miss any future content.